special day this morning. We have 86th Airlift Wing Commander Brigadier General John T. Thomas in the studio, along with Acting Command Chief Jason Parker. So first and foremost, thank you both for being here with us this morning.
Yeah, it's great to be here. It's great to be back on AFN Kaiserslautern.
It's been a while, a little bit, and I know that this is not our first time chatting, but it will certainly be our last, sadly, because I know you are on to bigger and better things shortly here in the future.
Well, I might agree with the statement bigger. I'm not sure I can agree with the better part, but, it's been great to be here. So.
And this wasn't your first time at Ramstein either. You'd been here before, years ago, correct?
You're right, yeah. My family and I, we were here from 2006 to 2009, and got to spend a year as the Deputy Commander of the 603rd AOC, and then 2 years as the Operations Group Commander in the 86.
So I'm sure you have plenty of stories, and that is kind of the point of this interview. So because it is going to be our last one, we kind of wanted to hear some stories about your experiences in your career and at Ramstein. So we've opened it up, and our very own Staff Sergeant Eli Smith, he is a new father, and he had a question for you. Yes,
congratulations, Eli.
I know.
And your wife.
Him, Eli and Andy, yes. So his question, we actually have it for you. I'm going to go ahead and play it.
General Thomas, I would love to know if you could, as an experienced father now, go back to the first week of being a father, what advice would you give yourself?
Okay, wow. So, first week of being a father. So fatherhood, talking from an experienced point of view to obviously a newer point of view. What advice would you give him?
So that he added Eli, you added a different twist in there at talking about the first week, because advice for the first week might be a little bit different than advice for the entire life. But Leah and I have 4 children, very proud of them, and gosh, for the first week, have plenty of diapers. How about that?
Wow.
Pay attention when you get the kind of out-brief instructions from the folks at the hospital, because you'll need to use those skills very quickly. And on a more serious note, hold your baby.
Hold your baby.
Hold your baby.
That contact.
Absolutely, there is, and this isn't just in the first week of life. I think in life in general. Human contact's important.
I love hugs still to this day.
Yeah.
I do. I mean, that's just me.
Hold your baby, and then if I can offer maybe for the longer term, but on a kind of similar note, just love your children. Love them unconditionally. Don't put any don't make your love subject to something. There are other things.
Oh, sure.
You want a car? Yeah, you can make that subject to something. Cell phone? That's subject to something. But your love for your children. Make it unconditional.
Unconditional. Well, that seems like pretty sound advice, and I'm sure Eli is thankful that you shared that with him. And Chief, what about you? Do you have any children?
I do.
All right.
Actually, we're proud parents of 2 children. We're equally as ecstatic about both of our kids. I would offer, in the first week, I would say definitely help your wife out as much as you can. She's going to get tired, excuse me, and it's, especially first-time parents. You don't know what you don't know. And so as you're experiencing, your new child and everything, the mom always shoulders the majority of the burden.
Right.
And so I think it's very important that you're there by her side and help her out. Give her an opportunity to sleep when she's tired. And like the general said, hug your baby and hold your baby.
It's pretty wonderful advice. So Eli, take notes. I'm sure he is at home. That is why he's not here with you this morning, actually, because he is still on his paternity leave. So definitely thankful for that. So that is one of the questions that we, we're interested to hear about. And some other questions. What I would like to know is, what is one of your most embarrassing moments? Because I know I have some since I've been in the Air Force, but I would love to hear it from a general.
Gosh. Yeah, well, I'll go far enough. There's probably a more recent one, not here at Ramstein, but within the past 5 or 6 years, but one a little bit further back. So I was a major and as an aide-de-camp to combatant commander. And so they have big meetings, of course, and as the aide-de-camp, you've got to make sure everything's right and they're ready to go. And at least back then, we didn't travel with that many people. It was me and maybe one other person in support of this combatant commander. And so it's time for him to get ready in Washington, D.C. to go to big event with the SecDef. And the dress was originally planned to be like coat and tie, and then they changed it to a business suit, and then they changed it back. But we didn't catch the change back. And so we packed him a business suit. And so he pulls that thing out of the bag the night prior, and he holds it up and looks at me and goes, Ty, what am I going to do? I'm going to go meet my boss, the Secretary of Defense. And he goes, I think you better do something. I'm just turning red. And fortunately, we were able to, in the span of about 4 hours, to find something for him that... but he never let me forget that.
Oh, man.
It was a humbling moment for me and embarrassing that we had missed that, but
humbling, like you said.
Job. Yeah, you got to have it right every time as an aide-de-camp. So that was embarrassing.
I would imagine that would definitely be a heavy, heavy load. And Chief, what about you? I know you have to have some embarrassing stories as well.
Wow. I wasn't expecting to have to answer this question.
You thought he was
quite
going to be
honest.
You thought you'd get out of
it.
it.
To dodge it.
Absolutely. I think I'm going to have to pass on this one, and we'll work our way down the rest of the list.
That is.
I'll give you I'll bail Chief out here and give you another. Okay. So I have zero musical talent at all.
Okay.
I love to sing, and I usually do it in church, and because A, that's praying twice, and B, everybody else is singing usually, so they can't hear your voice.
Right. You get drowned out a little bit.
Right.
It's perfect.
Exactly. But for some reason, when I was a wing commander at Altus, I thought it would be really cool to get on stage with we had like the wing had a garage band, and they were actually pretty good. So they invited me to join them, and I probably shouldn't have done that. My guitar skills are very thin, and my voice skills are even worse. So that was a little bit embarrassing.
Regardless if you have the talent, I give those people so much credit for even getting on stage, because I do not. You couldn't pay me money to do that. I think I would pass out before anything like vocally were to come out. At best, I'll just sing in the studio when no one's in here. So. Yeah,
well, that's pretty bold coming from a broadcaster. Here.
I know, isn't it? It's ironic, but that is a little bit. So if you're just... Aside from that, what I would like to know is some of your most memorable moments at Ramstein. Since you've been here, there has to be something that stands out about this space.
Oh, yeah, without question. I mean... really, I think I'd focus mostly on my time here as the wing commander, although there's a little bit of a funny story to this. When I left as the operations group commander, we were just getting our first C-130Js, and we thought to ourselves, wouldn't it be fantastic if we could get a simulator here, because we had always had to send our C-130 crew members to the States for simulator training.
Okay.
So lo and behold, I come back as the wing commander, which was a surprise, but it came back. And one of the first things I did was cut the ribbon on a brand new simulator building for the C-130J.
It just came to fruition.
So that was pretty cool in terms of back and forth between the two jobs. But I would say really there's one series of moments that stand out in my mind as the wing commander here, and one particular event. And the series of moments are all of what we call in the wing 5C time, meaning that the commander, CC, and the command chief, CCC, go out with airmen. And so Chief Easton and I would do that on a consistent basis. I don't know that Chief Parker and I have had a chance to do it in our short time together, but it's something that is very important. And it was just us, and the airmen would show us what they do. And they get us checked out as 1 levels or whatever, on the skill.
Right.
So we'd go out and we'd clean sewers, or we'd go to the legal office and call people to come report for jury duty.
That would be terrifying if the general called me from legal.
It was kind of funny. And we'd go over to finance and we'd work the finance counter, or we'd go and walk the walk plots downtown with the 569th. All those kind of things. So those will always be wonderful memories, just learning from airmen.
Sure, I get to experience and see what they do. That is pretty awesome. And Chief?
Well, hold on. I got to tell you the other one.
Okay, we got more.
The other one is a specific moment or set of moments, and that was when we all as a community came together to welcome the families that came from Incirlik in southern Turkey. That was just a few months ago at the end of March, beginning of April. I will always remember how we came through on the promise that the Air Force truly is a family. and we showed it to those family members as they came off the airplane.
That was, yeah, I remember we had Airman Boyer was out there filming, and the USO, the collaboration, the community, it was such open arms. That was absolutely amazing to see. And it seemed like they were extremely grateful. I can't imagine, being uprooted in a matter of a day or two. So this community definitely showed that it is very unique. And it was so many different people, the open-armed. That is pretty wonderful. All right, Chief, now your turn.
So the general must have been reading my mind. He stole my memorable moment there at the end. Yeah, it was the order of departure. I love the fact, being in the military is a team sport and a family business, and I love the fact of how we came together and really rallied around those that needed it most. But also, continuing on that theme, I love every time we do events or host events here, we never have a shortage of volunteers and people willing to step up and help each other out. So whether it's Freedom Fest, we've got somebody coming in with the USO, we've got the bazaar. No matter what goes on Ramstein, whenever we need something, everybody always rallies together. So that's pretty memorable for me as a senior enlisted leader in the wing. I think it's awesome.
This is a very, very strong, unique community. That is definitely a common thread between these most memorable stories. So that is definitely wonderful. And I'm sure about, I would like to know favorite off-base activities, because there's so many different things that you can do right here in our community, and I think there's absolutely something for everyone. And I want to know what those some things are for you.
Yeah. Okay. So here's a piece of advice or recommendation that I would give to Americans and their families here. I think if you really want to feel a piece of Europe, you got to go to a European soccer game.
I've heard.
In a big stadium and all that, and just all the cheering, shouting, flags, carrying on, blah, blah, blah. And your nearest place to do it is at the Fritz-Walter Stadion there in Kaiserslautern. Leah and I, we bought season tickets for last year.
Nice.
And we just had a ball. We went to most of the games. We gave the tickets away for the ones that we couldn't make. And it truly was the European experience in terms of seeing all that. The only thing is had we stayed for another year, I'm not sure if we would have bought the season tickets again.
Oh?
It's not because the games weren't fun. It was because I think the team needs to pick it up a little bit.
Oh, all right.
So for the FCK players that are out there, come on, guys, let's go. Get closer to the first division. But that was fun.
Step up. All right. I have not been to one yet, but I have heard that is a staple of an experience in Germany.
Oh, yeah. Yep.
Chief, have you been to a game?
I have.
Yeah.
And it is very, very exciting and a lot of fun, especially with the rival. Whoever they're playing, they section off an area for their fans to come, and it gets pretty entertaining and lively to watch.
See, okay. I'm adding it to the bucket list. I absolutely have to. All right, Chief, what is one of your, aside from a game, your favorite off-base activities?
Well, it's kind of funny. I'm going to stick on that theme because
Okay.
my daughter's a big soccer player, and for my wife and I, we love watching our daughter play soccer. So she plays for a German team as well as for the high school here. But we've loved traveling around to the different villages and stuff and competing against the other teams and just getting out and watching her play. It's phenomenal. And we always brag to our friends back home in the States. It's amazing that they build these soccer fields in some of the most picturesque places you could ever find. And it seems kind of random too. You kind of get up on top of a hill and all of a sudden it just opens up and there's this beautiful, fantastic soccer field. And so it's been a lot of fun to travel around and watch our daughter play soccer.
I imagine all the different locations, the landscapes, because just driving around Germany or even, hiking, that's one I think, General Thomas, you said you like to hike as well.
Yeah,
and the landscapes are just incredible, and they're everywhere, but they're almost hidden at the same time. You don't realize how beautiful it is until you truly open your eyes. So those are just a few things of favorite off-base activities. I need to get to it's FCK. I didn't know that.
FCK.
Okay,
yeah.
FCK.
Fußball Club Kaiserslautern.
Okay.
That's what the FCK
So
stands for.
adding that to the list of things to do in Germany. And that is always fun. Plenty of different things to do. So one thing, General Thomas, you're leaving.
Yeah.
And that is okay. But one thing, and Chief, even though you're not leaving, this you can absolutely answer, I'm sure, is I'd like to know, what are you going to miss about Germany, and what aren't you going to miss about Germany? These are two-part question at this point.
Well, I'll, more locally, I think what I'll miss, and particularly as a commander, is I'll miss the support and friendship of the community leaders that are out there. So just a couple examples. I mean, Ramstein Miesenbach has been a very, very good friend of the base and the airmen on the base. And the mayor, the long-serving mayor, Klaus Elias, passed away this year, and that was a sad loss. And I will miss the friendship that he extended to us when we lived here before. I mean, I remember our kids dancing at his house during the festival, the carnival that occurs in February. So it was kind of fun. But, I mean, his successor, Mayor Heschler, is a great man and family man. He's got young kids himself, and we developed a friendship. And that's just one example. I mean, Lord Mayor Weichel downtown, and all of the mayors have been very supportive and helpful, as well as the county commissioner and the police presence. So I think on a personal level, as a commander, I'll miss that quite a bit. I'll miss the natural beauty of Germany. You mentioned the hiking, and I was just recently out in Germany's newest national park, Saarhunsrück, which is on the A62 going up towards Trier and all that. And it's beautiful. And it's got some really fascinating 2,000-year-old Celtic ruins there. And,
oh my goodness!
Yeah,
I had no idea.
Yeah, yeah. It's so there's little gems like that. The little gem soccer fields, like Chief was talking about, but just little gem like natural places here that I'll miss.
Definitely. Chief, what's something when you end up leaving that you are going to miss, or one of your favorite things about Germany in general?
I think it's just the travel, period.
I
I think it's so easy to get around and do things here. I think the base in particular has done a fantastic job of making it easy for everybody, from the lowest ranking airman to the highest ranking airman and all their families. So the travel has been absolutely fantastic. We joke a lot because my wife could be a professional travel agent now. She's definitely figured out how to master the travel through Europe, and so that's probably one of the things we'll miss most.
I can absolutely agree with that. I mean, our location is just prime. You couldn't really ask for anything better. So, and it is a very, very user-friendly travel system, whether you're doing it public transportation or even, driving yourself, friends, and family. Travel is one. So, a couple things that you're going to miss. But is there anything you're not particularly going to miss?
So, I don't know whether it's the California in me or the American in me, but there might be a few too many rules here in Germany. So
yeah.
I may not miss some of those rules. And I know that it's important to have an ordered society, and Germany is a very ordered society. But I think we as Americans, sometimes it's okay to be a little more freestyle. And so I'll be happy to get back to the States, and there'll be at least a little bit of more room to maneuver.
Sure, a little bit of wiggle room.
Yeah.
Chief?
I agree with that. I would say probably the convenience of stuff. In the United States, we have, it seems like tons and tons of options, especially late at night. Things around here tend to close relatively early, and if you've forgotten to get something, or you just have something you'd like to go get and it's 11, 12 o'clock at night, we have so many options in the United States that aren't available here. So I think that's one of the things I won't miss. And faster internet.
Oh, right. Oh, my goodness.
Yeah.
That is so...
When the villages are talking about how exciting it is to get off DSL, that might tell you something
There's
about...
red flag. Red flag.
Right.
Absolutely.
Very, very true. Yeah, I'll miss some. Or be excited for Sunday shopping because everything's just closed on Sundays. It's nice to have a down day, but Chief, like you're saying, if you need something, it's like, well, too bad. You got to wait till Monday. But all very, Germany is beautiful. It's a wonderful place. But yeah, the rules. It'll be nice for some freedom or some wiggle room back in the States. So wonderful. What goals did you have, and did you feel that you've accomplished them? I mean, I imagine you did have goals.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah.
And I'd just like to know from your perspective how that went, how your assignment went.
So I'd frame it in the context of, as a new commander from day one, I articulated 3 priorities for the 86th Airlift Wing. And they were priorities that weren't just oriented on the 86th Airlift Wing. They should affect the entire KMC and the community, because we have a lot of people that we support their missions, and so this becomes very critical that we understand that and do that right. But the first priority was to succeed in our missions, and we have multiple missions in the wing. The second was to become better, and the third is to care for one another. And so as I look back on those priorities and what we have done, what goals and objectives underneath those, I think that we've done quite well. I mean, if you look at the type of missions that the wing has executed itself, whether it's flying combat and expeditionary missions into Africa, or whether it's executing very big exercises in Eastern Europe like Swift Response, where we're sending a strategic message, we've done very well there. In terms of supporting the theater and strategic missions that we don't necessarily do but others do, we've maintained the networks well. We've kept communication lines open. The airfield has run well. So I think we've succeeded in the mission. I think that becoming better is so important. Our Air Force is known for its innovation. It's been a tradition for us since the very beginning, and I think our wing has shown innovation in all kinds of different ways. I go back to one really it's almost so painfully simple and inexpensive, and yet it solved a really expensive problem. It was our airmen in the fuel section in our maintenance group take a metal cabinet that they were going to get rid of at Dermo, flip it on its side, cut some holes in it, put some rivets in. Next thing you know, they've got a trainer for in-tank fuel servicing. And
wow.
They reduced the risk. I mean, it's, there's more to it. They added a boost pump in there and some tubing and all that kind of stuff. But just stopping and going, how can we do this better?
Right, the creativity aspect.
And then, more broadly, we had every wing gets a unit effectiveness inspection every 2 years. And I'm very, very proud of the fact, and I know Chief is as well, and the rest of it. We were the first ever wing in USAFE to get a highly effective grade in the improving the unit category.
Wow.
Which is really hard to do.
Huge accomplishment.
So that was validating, I guess, in the sense of becoming better. And then care for one another. So that sometimes it's hard on that aspect to kind of, how do you capture the effects?
Right.
I'm quite confident that on the input side, all of the things that you would look at your community action information board in terms of the working hard to try to reduce the number of DUIs and support to people who are having trouble and struggling and maybe have suicidal ideations or activities for families, stuff like that. All that has grown and blossomed. I'll be frank, though, I think that there's still a lot of things that drive stress and challenges in our community. And so I think we've seen some improvements, but not always. But the spirit is there for caring for one another. And sometimes that's what you can do. And that's certainly what we have done, is to set it up.
Success, yes. Definitely a strong community support system here.
Mm-hmm.
And there's always room for improvement in everything. Mm-hmm. So definitely something. And I know that, congratulations, Major General. That's up next. Yeah. And you're going to be heading to the Air Mobility Command at Scott Air Force Base to be the Director of Plans, Programs, and Requirements, correct? That is a title and a half.
That's a mouthful. Uh-huh.
So what does that mean to you? I mean, it's got to be a big thing. Personal outlook, I guess, on that and what you're excited for there.
Well, I'll tell you what, a completely different job than being a wing commander. So I'll get a chance to have some influence and guide where the mobility air forces are going for weapon system procurement and more broadly strategy and how we build the budget, and submit it to Headquarters Air Force and work our way through. So that'll be the neat things about the next job. In terms of promotion, I look at it the same way as any promotion for any of us. Because promotion in and of itself, I don't think is ever or should be a goal. I think that what it means is that it allows you to do more for our Air Force and for our fellow airmen. There are certain things that you can do as a master sergeant that you can't do as a staff sergeant or a tech sergeant. So that's why master sergeant's important.
Right.
Same thing for making colonel, for example. You can't be a wing commander unless you're at least a colonel. And you can't be the commander of the 86th Airlift Wing unless you're a brigadier general. Right. So that's what's important. Getting promoted to 2 stars when the time comes is what allows me to do this next job. So for that, I'm excited. Whatever. The rest of it is all nice. It's nice when people treat you nice, but it's more about what you can do in your new grade.
Reaching capabilities, wonderful. So that is Very exciting for you. As we're saying goodbye and sending you on your way, General, final thoughts for airmen in the KMC. What would you tell them?
Well, I'll tell everybody here on the radio the same thing that I've been telling airmen as I've gone around to all the various groups and opportunity even at the squadron level to talk with our airmen. And it is fundamentally thank you. Thank you for the opportunity to serve with you for 14 months. Thank you for caring for me and my family while we were here. And I guess most importantly, and perhaps more broadly, is thank you for your excellence. Because I've seen it every day for 14 months. Excellence in airmen who are, no matter what part of the mission that they have or what part of the wing, they do it with passion, they do it with professionalism. And I think they do it for a heck of a lot more than just because General Thomas maybe is their commander or whoever it is. They do it because they're part of something bigger than themselves, and that's our Air Force. And that's, I think, why many of us have joined or why we stay. And it's also why we are the best Air Force in the world. We are the best not because we got cool stuff like new C-130Js or great comm tools or cool trucks or anything like that. We do it because we're professionals. We train. We have high standards, and we're not afraid to hold ourselves to them, so that when the time comes for us to go out and execute our mission, it's natural, and we get it done. And there's no question of who's the best and who's going to come out on top. And so here, what I've been asking everybody is, do the same for your next commander, but do that for your Air Force, our Air Force. And heck, I'll go off into the next job and know that this wing, the Ramstein area, the KMC community, the airmen here are going to do awesome. And I thank them for that, and I'm appreciative.
Well, I think they feel the same way, so a huge thank you, Brigadier General John T. Thomas, 86th Airlift Wing Commander, and also had Acting Command Chief Jason Parker hanging out with us today. Thank you both for coming to AFN, chit-chatting, and telling us a little bit about your lives and things you liked, embarrassing moments, and things to look forward to. Wish you both well, Chief. I'm sure I'll see you around, though. But absolutely. I hope you have a wonderful Thursday, and best of luck for Scott Air Force Base, General Thomas.
Okay. Thank you, Lindy. It's been a pleasure being on the show with you.
Absolutely. Have a great rest of the day.